Hello and welcome to News on the Hour. The major stories. Primate Henry Ndokuba felicitates with his spiritual son and family, joins them in special thanksgiving. Archbishop Simeon Borokini calls on government to find a lasting solution to the problem of insecurity ravaging the country, backs self-defense. Plus, Bishop Owen Nwokolo appeals to Christians to consciously surrender themselves as quality tools in the hands of God. Well, here are the news in details. It was all joy at St. Matthias Anglican Church, Durumi, Abuja, as the Venerable Emmanuel and Mrs. Grace Dozier, their children or the family members, friends and well-wishers, most notably Primate of all Nigeria Anglican Communion, Most Reverend Dr. Henry Ndokuba and wife, Mrs. Angela Ndokuba, all gathered to thank God for showing special mercy and faithfulness to the family in their ministry, marriage, and in the life of their son who had a successful surgery. They celebrated 25 years anniversary in marriage and 20 years in ministry. Charles Philip Wakolam was there for Acnn TV. It tells the rest of the story.
It is a triple celebration for the man of God, the Venerable Emmanuel Dozier, the entire family and friends. Hence, they have come to the presence of God to testify and give thanks. The family is also thanking God for taking control in the successful surgery of their first son. Gracing this special Thanksgiving service was the Primate of all Nigeria, Bishop of Abuja Diocese Anglican Communion, Most Reverend Dr. Henry Ndokuba and his wife, Mrs. Angela, who have been witnesses for the celebrating couple from the inception of their marriage and ministry.
This morning, we have come to rejoice with the Venerable and his family. For 25 years of marriage, 20 years of priesthood, the son underwent a very serious operation that would have crippled one of his legs. But God intervened and delivered that boy. Now he can say, the God of my father has done it.
Friends, family, well-wishers, parishioners graced this joyous day as the couple danced to the altar before cutting their anniversary cake.
I had this tumor that started by itself around 2020. Just last 2 months, I had this surgery to remove the tumor. It was in the knee, the right knee. The surgery was successful. The tumor was removed. It was a benign tumor by the grace of God. It was not cancerous. That's what it means. I'm grateful. Actually, the pain was terrible, so I can't really explain it. It's an experiential pain. It's just something you can look back and say, thank you. But by the grace of God, the pain is gone and the tumor is out of my leg.
The Venerable Emmanuel and Mrs. Grace Dozier started their ministry in Kano, later moved to Gombe Diocese before being transferred to the Abuja Diocese.
We have and Mama Grace for a very long time, and we thank God for what God has done in their lives, and bringing them together as husband and wife, and using them in the ministry. They have loved the Lord and have followed Him with all their hearts, and God is using them. So we can testify to the faithfulness of God, that when men serve God with all their hearts, that is what we are celebrating today. the faithfulness of God.
God's faithfulness is abound with us. There will always be challenges in life, rising against the couple, but they need to stay put together and trust in God, depend wholly on Him.
My parents' ministry, like I've seen, has been an inspiration to so many people, not just me. Like, please, the people that came here today, you know that yes, the ministry touched their life one way or the other.
Charles Philip Adekola, Acnn News.
Well, congratulations to the Venerable. Moving on, the Archbishop of the Ecclesiastical Province of Ondo, Bishop of Akure Diocese, Simeon Borokini, has called on the government to find a lasting solution to the problem of insecurity ravaging the country. The cleric berated the federal government for being insensitive to the security situation in the country, and to this end he charged the Christians in the country to find a way to defend themselves against invaders. He stated these are the first session of the 14th Synod of Akure Diocese of the Church held at St. Andrew's Church, Akure, the state capital. According to the bishop, the best thing for Christians is to get arms legitimately to defend themselves. He also decried the attack on the church by the suspected terrorists. Borokini also called on the federal government to amend the constitution in order for the state governments to have their own police, adding that they have been asking all the church leaders to comply with the installation of closed-circuit television cameras on the church. Get the gadgets before August 1st, 2022, which is the deadline. The cleric appealed to every facet of the government to put in place sound government intervention and heighten attention to strengthen the manufacturing sector in order to expand and grow the economy, thereby creating sustainable jobs for the teeming youth population. The 4-day annual conference of the Women Ministry Diocese on the Niger was rounded off with a call on Christians to always make themselves variable instruments for the spread of the gospel. The conference, which commenced with the theme, Go Make Disciples of All Nations, was held at St. James Anglican Church, Awada, a satellite area of the commercial city of Onitsha, Anambra State. In a 30-minute homily during the concluding solemn church service of the conference, the Bishop of the Diocese, the Right Reverend Dr. Owen Nwokolo, appealed to Christians to consciously surrender themselves as quality tools in the hands of God for the Great Commission. He explained that the gospel ministry was indispensable in the salvation of mankind and that it required certain criteria to make it effective. According to the bishop, the task of evangelism first involved a person hearing the voice of God before launching out for disciples, saying whoever that agrees to go for evangelism must first hear the word and agree to go forth. Among the high points that added glamour to the church service included a fundraising tied to the dramatic curtain of the conference cake, unveiling and launching of the women's annual magazine, The Echoes of Hope, Kingdom Dance by the Nkwa musical group of the diocese, and various renditions by the host choir. In a brief vote of thanks, the president of the diocese on the Niger Women Ministry, Dr. Nonyelu Nwokolo, among many groups and individuals in the diocese, thanked the diocesan, the Right Reverend Dr. Nwokolo, for his spiritual and moral support towards the success of the conference. She also appreciated the chaplain of the women's ministry, Venerable Dr. Ike Ihimtuge, as well as commended all the women of the diocese for what she described as their wonderful dedicated commitment to the things of God. Monachi and Umudioka Anglican Community will host the 2023 Conference of the Women. And now ministers of God have been urged to brace up to feed their flocks with rightful words of God, as well as drive away wolves that might want to scatter the congregations. Bishop of Ibomina, Anglican Diocese, the Right Reverend Emmanuel Adekola gave the advice at the Trinity ordination held at Christ Anglican Church, Ijomoro, in Irekbodu, local government of Kwara State, Nigeria, where Reverend Emmanuel Olaoye was priested and Reverend Bernard Yanogu was made a deacon. Bishop Adekola said as soldiers of God, their callings entail diligence, competency and discipline. He emphasized that as priests in the vineyard, they must be ready to lay their lives for the propagation of the kingdom of God. On the issue of insecurity in the country, the Bishop of Ibomina Anglican Diocese advised government at various levels to do the needful by protecting lives and properties of Nigeria. Similarly, Venerable Joshua Odusolu, who preached at the ordination service, urged the newly ordained priests not to allow pride, impatience and overambitions pitch them against God and humanity. In their acceptance speech, Reverend Emmanuel and Reverend Bernard pledged their allegiance to put in their best to preach the gospel as well as make more disciples for Jesus Christ. The media director of the Diocese of Ibomina, Reverend Canon Falusi Paul, reports that highlights of the ordination included swearing in of Dr. Ruth Ademola as Registrar of Ibomina Anglican Diocese and Mr. Shina Michael as Deputy Registrar. Members of the Diocese of Osun North, Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion celebrated the goodness of God upon the life of Mama Osun North, Mrs Teresa Olaoye, as she is a year older. The celebration occurred during the ordination service that was held at Oba Moses Oyinlola Memorial Anglican Church, Okuku. The Chancellor of the Diocese, Barrister Adebisi Oyinlola, the Iyaijo of the said parish, sang a soloist birthday song for the celebrant and was joined by the entire congregation. The good people of the diocese, clergy and laity appreciated God for his manifold blessings upon the celebrant and prayed for long life, good health, unspeakable joy, abundant grace and prosperity throughout her lifetime, so that she will enjoy the fruits of her labor to a very good old age. Viewers, you've been watching the news and the hour and still to come. Anglican youth expressed genuine hunger and thirst for God in an annual conference. That story and others will come your way after this short break. Please stay tuned.
I assure you, I am not joking. If you want to try it, just in case you say, this man talks too much, let's try him. Try me. God, who brought Jesus Christ from the dead, is with me. And I want you to have that kind of confidence so that you don't go about jittering every day. The reason why you are crying is because you don't understand this power. If you know this power, you will live a life of confidence. They may push you, but you won't be crushed. They may do what they will do, but you will stand. Because the Bible says it. It is not by flattery, but those who know their God, they will stand and they will do exploit. It is your time to do exploit for God. In the name of Jesus Christ.
If everyone can put their hands together as a Nigerian citizen, as a proper Nigerian citizen, get their PVCs and vote, I believe things can turn around for Nigeria. And if things turn around for Nigeria from our vote, then that means that everybody can come out and hold our leaders accountable. We're talking of leaders from our local government, from our states to the federal level. We're not just talking of leaders in any category. It's all categories because we're all leaders in every way. So we are hoping that with this move, looking down to the elections come 2023, Nigeria will be really positioned in a way that good leaders will be elected, good leaders will be accountable, then Nigeria will be put in a position that every other country will be admiring it.
You are welcome back, and thanks for being there. For more on our top stories, please visit our website at Acnn TV or our social media platforms on facebook.com or youtube.com/Acnn TV. To be up to date with our news and other programs, download the Avo TV app from Google Play Store, and you can also advertise your goods and services on Acnn TV. Moving on, married couples have been advised to speak up and not to die in silence when they are facing any form of abuse in their homes. This advice was given by the supervisory priest of Maitama Archdeaconry and Vicar of St. Matthew's Church, Maitama, Abuja, the Venerable Festus Mwafili, as he also advised clergy against using what people confide in them as illustrations during sermon.
There is no problem that cannot be solved. Keeping things to yourself is not the right thing. I think that is a misunderstanding of involvement of third parties in marriage that we've interpreted over the years. If the church came together to bless your marriage, I do not think there is anything wrong in you confiding in the church. And as pastors, I think we should be we should keep things to ourselves and stop using the things people tell us in confidence for sermon illustration. So if you have a problem, just like you go to ask for prayer, go. Let the family agree, the husband and wife agree that this problem is beyond us. Let's find help. And when they approach it from that angle, they will be able to get this thing. Parents, matured Christians should be at it. Let's take a closer look at ourselves and be our brother's keeper. If you see a troubled man, a troubled woman, you will know. And if we're able to identify such people in our churches and prayerfully go about it, we help them solve their problems. Let's live right. Let's shine the light. Let's be the example that we have. We want young people, young families to follow. Identify young families in the church and draw close to them and try to help them. When they see us doing this, it will not be difficult to get help when there is a challenge in the family.
The Anglican youth in the Gwarinpa area of Abuja gathered for their annual Archdeaconry Conference with the theme, Be Strong and Courageous. There was an atmosphere lit with genuine hunger and thirst for the knowledge of God and of doing His will, as this clergyman in the Archdeaconry opened the conference with Holy Communion service before leading in prayers and admonishing them in becoming the youth separated for the use of God, being able to learn and walk with the elders and leaders of the church. They were also led on seminar topics, They were also led on seminar with topic Courageous Youth in a Difficult Time. Charles Philip Wakalam has the details.
Converged here at the St. Philip's Anglican Church, Gwarinpa, Abuja, are the youths of the Gwarinpa Archdeaconry of the Anglican Diocese of Abuja for the annual Youth Conference. Here, the youths show hunger and thirst for the knowledge and the person of God, as the Archdeaconry chaplain, Reverend Emmanuel Ikwejuwajo, led an intense prayer session. The conference, which has the theme, Be Strong and Courageous, started with an Holy Communion service before the Archdeaconry supervising priest, Venerable Andros Ukejofo, urged the youths to learn from the life of Joshua in the Bible.
One of the problems we have among the youth is that they think the elderly are outdated. They even think that they are clergymen and their leaders in churches are outdated. But the point is, from the story, the life history of Joshua. Joshua was patient. He followed the guidance of Moses. He was with Moses. We didn't hear of any squabbles between them, and Moses guided him.
God did not emphasize more on the promise. He emphasized more on the need for him to be strong and what? Courageous.
The theme talk was taken by the vicar of the host church, Venerable Ovie Ezemerue, who is the diocesan youth chaplain. The Iguaran Archdeacon AYF is ably led by a pragmatic lady, Blessing, who, during her presidential address, believes the youth can also be inspiration to the church and the society.
I would like to see young people start to also inspire the church in their local parish, in the diocese, and also in the national level.
While speaking with Acnn, she encouraged youth massive participation in the coming election.
The team talk says, be strong and courageous. Courageous youth in challenging times. So this is one of the team talk, and also talk about the contemporary issues. I mean, 2023 election is fast approaching, and we cannot take away politics from the church. We have been shying away from politics. So we're also going to be having some talks around the young people's perspective and their involvement in politics. So we'll be hearing from young people that are politicians, how they fared in the journey.
From the conference, the youths were encouraged not to allow the obnoxious recent realities wither their strength.
Challenges of life are bound to occur. But the issue is not the challenge. The issue is our attitude towards the challenge. If they can be strong and courageous, have their roots in God, they will stand, surmount every challenge, and become victorious in life.
Charles Philip Owakolam, Acnn News.
Thank you, Charles, for that report. Moving on, the Christian Association of Nigeria, Acnn, Niger State Chapter, has declared that it will not encourage Christians to vote for any political party that fields same faith, saying the body will fully support Christians vying for any elective office in the state. The state's Acnn chairman, Most Reverend Bulus Johanna, who made this known after an emergency meeting with state executive members, local government coordinators, bloc and other leaders held at the state secretariat in Mina, said Christians had been marginalized in the past, adding that it is now time to take a decisive stand. The chairman therefore calls on all eligible Nigerites, especially Christians, to get their permanent voter cards, PVCs, so as to participate in the 2023 general elections if they truly want to effect positive change. Away from Nigeria now, U.S. Rep. Warren Vargas is demanding an independent investigation into the death of 84-year-old Indian Jesuit priest and human rights defender Father Stan Swami 9 months after his arrest without trial under the country's anti-terrorism laws. The Democratic congressman from California introduced a resolution to commemorate Swami's death in police custody last July. According to one, Father Stan was a staunch human rights defender who dedicated his life to giving a voice to the voiceless. He advocated for the rights of the indigenous adversity people, trained young community leaders, and strived for justice for many mistreated communities in India. Swami was arrested in October 2020 alongside 9 other activists on charges of collaboration with most terrorists under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act and accused of instigating violence in the western state of Maharashtra in 2018. At the time of his arrest, Swami was already suffering from Parkinson's disease and had contracted COVID-19 in pre-trial detention. In the several letters he wrote from prison, Swami detailed the inhumane treatment he received, including being denied a sipper to drink water despite his deteriorating health. His bail applications were repeatedly denied, and he died on July 5th, 2021. You've been watching the news on the hour. Before we go, let's give you a recap of our major stories. Primate Henry Ndokuba felicitates with his spiritual son and family, joins them in special thanksgiving. Archbishop Simeon Borukini calls on government to find a lasting solution to the problem of insecurity ravaging the country, backs self-defense. Bishop Owen Wokolo appeals to Christians to consciously surrender themselves as quality tools in the hands of God. And that's it for this edition of the News on the Hour. I want to thank you profusely for watching. I am Nzubechi Frank. Bye.